Arsenal versus Spurs Sunday at 2 p.m. Arsenal won both North London derbies last season. So I'm really looking forward to this match.
It's a great game.
It's a beautiful. You can get in the Pig's Ear or wherever in Chelsea if indeed it has
What a great place to watch Arsenal Spurs.
Probably won't be showing it.
and enjoy this one. Before Arsenal's 4-0 win against PSV, apparently Emmanuel Petit commented that he's been bored watching Arsenal this season.
Cheers, Emmanuel.
Thanks, Emmanuel.
Cheers,
Manu.
Thank you.
He's blonde, he's quick, his name's a porno flick. They used to sing, didn't they?
Nice.
I do like that.
Yeah,
That's
it's good chance.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting game, chiefly because both those teams have got basically an identical record going into this. Spurs are obviously resurgent. And I think Manu Petit's saying what he's saying because he looks at Arsenal and goes, oh, God, they're still unbeaten. 5 games in. Need to bring them down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm not going to get any of those after dinner bookings. There's going to be a bigger pool. But seriously, I think it's a really interesting game, chiefly because, like I say, they've got the same record. Spurs have been so good so far this season, but can they do this type of football?
Yeah.
Can they play this way away from home against a big rival? And can they, for example, stick to their guns if they go a goal down early against a good Arsenal team in that kind of fiery atmosphere, which it will be at the Emirates now. I mean, it kind of is like that now.
If anyone calmed down, it's Angelo, surely.
Yeah, I think so. But I think he likes to play the way he likes to play, and I think he's quite he's almost quite dogmatic about that. And I also feel like Arsenal had a perfect, as Vish and I mentioned actually briefly on Thursday. Arsenal had a perfect time against PSV. They were able to win easily. They were able to build their confidence up. They were able to remove key players early. They'll be fresh. They'll be firing for this. And it'll be an opportunity for Arsenal to say, do you know what? We're still the team here. We're still the North London team here. And Spurs have got an opportunity to say, off we go. Get off your perch.
It feels like like a perfect time for these two to meet and a treat for us as neutrals. But you think Arsenal have been quite, basically slowly building up to the standards they set last season, and that PSV game felt like a bit more of a flex than they've had recently. And then you kind of look at Spurs, and in part because of to riff of what Angie said last week about let fans get excited about it. They're in that quite cool place, and I speak with a lot of envy as a Manchester United fan. We don't really know where the ceiling is. There is a ceiling, but you're not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And so
it's refreshing for people our height as well to feel that there's a ceiling close to us.
Whenever there's a ceiling close to me, always touch it.
Enjoy
Just to know what it feels
it's like the Liverpool sign, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Any
ceiling, yeah.
But it does feel like a real. So this, I think, it could be a massive accelerator for Arsenal if they come in and just win, not even win convincingly, but win.
Have a nice time.
And for Spurs, I think it might be just to step up another level because they've had broadly favourable games so far. They've got a lot of fan love back and a lot of people believing in what they're doing, which they haven't had in fucking ages, really. Yeah. And so this could be. I reckon even if they get away with a draw, considering they've lost this fixture 3-1 in the last 2 seasons, I think it bodes well, at least going into the end of the year.
What was fan love out for? Shin splints, was it? Martin Odegaard, you've got a player who's, he's drawing quite the salary. He's going to be the club's highest player on the Arsenal side.
Highest player or highest
touching the ceiling?
Highest paid player.
A short man touching the ceiling.
He's going to be the highest paid player. He's signed a new 5-year deal. Obviously, a few clubs were sort of circling and monitoring that situation. But it's an interesting player at 24 to be the one who's drawing the biggest salary at that club.
And the timing is of the announcement, I think, is the most interesting thing because it shows that Arsenal are confident. They could have held that news back and thought if we lose at home to Spurs on the weekend, we can drop that news on Monday and everyone forgets about it. They've done it ahead of the game, which to me feels like it's a confident decision to make personally. And then as for the old Erdegaard thing, I mean, he's a captain of the club. I mean, he's one of their best players. He's certainly one of their most important players. And with the pedigree he's got and where he's come from, it kind of makes sense that they want to tie him down. I just think the timing of the signing is pretty interesting. This is a game. This is the barn burner of the weekend for me. This is the kind of thigh rubber of the weekend. I'm excited. It's on the telly as well, which is kind of a depressing thing to say for a football fan, but that's just the situation we're in. And then on the Spurs side, I think what's going to be really interesting in terms of the game itself is this midfield. I mean, they do play slightly differently to this, but this kind of midfield three that I would say is it is a three really in the way they function. Sarr, Bissouma, and Maddison. Can they do it away from home against a really good team? And can Maddison get all the joy he's been getting up against someone like Declan Rice, who's also been getting an awful lot of attention for being such a good player as well? It's really going to be the immovable force against the unstoppable object, whatever they say. What is it? The unstoppable force versus the immovable object.
Yeah.
And whoever wins out of that, I think will be it'll be a fascinating battle.
It's huge for Maddison, isn't it? Because it's a very different kind of challenge, and with it comes a lot of responsibility. Like, he knows he's going to get pelters from the crowd, and he generally takes that quite well. But this is quite a febrile atmosphere, especially at the Emirates now, where it's they've taken the level up a notch.
I just think as well, it's fair enough. They got a point against Brentford away from home. That's really the most high profile away game they've played. And of course, they played Man United at home, but I was at that game. Man United weren't very good. Man United concede goals for fun. It's just crazy how often they concede goals. So it's not really the same.
How are we catching strays in the North London?
You should be. You should be. It's incredible how often they concede.
Yeah.
And the only game they haven't conceded is the Wolves game, where they should have conceded about 6.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a big test for Maddison, and I think he'll become. And I've said this before. I think he'll become a legend at that club. I think he fits just. It's intangible, but aesthetically, he just fits the club.
Yeah.
And people love him already. If he goes to the Emirates at this kind of time of the season and puts in a masterclass, you're on your way to legendary status. All he's got to do really is lift a trophy at Spurs to be a legend there.
Yeah.
And that tells you a lot about Spurs.
Well, I mean, just because he plays next to him, but I mean, that's the other big factor in this is Bissouma. Because he's, since signing from Brighton, this is the cleanest run he's got at Spurs. He's playing brilliantly. There's like Moussa Dembele, levels to what he's doing in that midfield. And he is going to have everyone coming at him. He's going to be taking out, looking after Odegaard, carrying the ball forward. He'll basically be bumping shoulders with Declan Rice all evening.
So it's a big test with...
afternoon.
Depends how long the game goes on for, I guess. It's just a big test generally then, isn't it, for the midfield? And the Spurs midfield thing is interesting because you look at that at the start of the season, you go, okay, Pape Sarr, highly rated, young player, haven't really seen what he can do yet. Bissouma, another player that's come through at Brighton, everyone wanted, and he looks like he's got a lot of potential. He comes to Spurs and his career kind of stalls.
Yeah.
And it's only now he's really doing stuff. And then Maddison... he's part, regardless of how good he's been and how good he is as a player, he's coming from a relegated team. I don't think you'd be. I think you can be forgiven for wondering whether that would click and be as good as it has been. But you have to say, to start with, I mean, we're only 5 games in September, but it's been incredible so far. And if they can keep that balance and keep those players fit and keep performing in the bigger challenges, of which this is one, it's an incredible opportunity for Spurs, I think.
Cheers for watching another fantastic clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Make sure you click like on this video and subscribe to the channel, which means you will not miss a single upload.